Hi, welcome to the Reyactive RoundUp. This is a brand new video series started by Reyactive. My name's Chris Kerr. This is kind of my deal with Reyactive, where we get to share some of the fantastic or interesting or awe-inspiring news that we're encountering, or information about products or things that we've tripped over that we think you're going to find really useful, really exciting, really important. And just by fluke, nothing really more than that, I think we've tripped over the most important business news story in the last 30 years or more. Certainly since deflation and stagflation hit in the 70s, I can't think of anything that's really as important as this news story. And I'm not saying that lightly. We've had the Occupy Wall story. We've had a lot of those other issues that have risen up in the last few years based on a lot of our understanding or thought as to how we've got into the economic mess that we're in globally, and looking at the U.S. in particular just on our own. But I think this news story from CNN Money goes a long way to debunking all of that and proving that all of that's a big distraction from the root causes. And we're going to have to take a whole other look at how these things come to pass. So let's start with actually what the story is. So again, CNN Money has come out with an article on May 2nd that really is a jaw-dropper if you take a little time to think about it. Very, very recently, a group called the Kauffman Foundation released a report based on the new U.S. Census data. And what they discovered is that in 1982, 50% of all companies in America, 50% of all businesses in America were companies that were 5 years old or younger. As of 2010, that number is down to 35% of all companies were 5 years old or younger. That represents a 15% decline, or really of the quantity of companies, that's a 30% decline in the number or share of new businesses in the marketplace. So we have a bunch of old businesses, but we don't have that many new businesses. Now, this article has lots of vague theories and not a lot to back it up as far as what the potential causes might have been, could have been. They don't get into that. This set of facts alone is core to the argument and core to the discussion. So if you're thinking about it for a minute, we can have the argument that says it was all based on taxation. We're not taxing the rich enough, we're taxing the rich too much. If that argument held any water at all, then in that 30-year window, we would see a series of spikes and dips, spikes and dips, spikes and dips every time those tax policies changed. And they did change. Sometimes the rich were taxed more, sometimes the rich were taxed less. So in each of those cases, you'd expect to see an increase in innovation or a decrease in innovation corresponding to the direction of the taxes. That didn't happen in that entire time period. The only example where it went up at all is really the dot-com boom era. Other than that, everything else is down for a 30-year window. And with that trajectory, it's only going down further until we fix it. So the tax issue is a complete distraction. It has not had a sizable impact on this entire 30-year window to talk about. That means there are other issues that are having a much more powerful impact on this than taxation alone. And we need to stop looking at it from the point of view of the rich versus the poor, because that has nothing to do with it. This clearly shows we are not creating new wealthy people because we're no longer creating entrepreneurs by comparison. Yeah, we have some. We have the Facebooks, we have those innovators in that context, but we don't have the percentage of them that we used to have. We went from 50% to 35%. That big gap difference is a huge reason why we went from the number of fairly wealthy people as a percentage down to 1%. And the 90-something or 85-something went up to 99%. That math, that disparity, this is why. It's not tax by comparison. It's not gender roles. Just take all that nonsense away. It's because we don't have people making money. And when you compound that by adding in the fact that 80% of all jobs come from small business, and you now have 30% fewer brand new small businesses, you have a stranglehold on your entire ability to grow jobs in this country. And until that stranglehold is relieved and we start with new businesses, this ain't ever going to change. So here's what I want you to do. Take a few minutes, think up some solutions, think up some crazy, wacky, wonderful ways to turn this country around, create new entrepreneurs, create a new sense of purpose for us to build new businesses. Share those in the comments, and we'll talk about it in the next episode or one of the coming episodes. Because this story isn't going away, folks. I'm going to do everything I can to put this story front and center in every media we can, because this is that important. Thanks so much for your time. It's Chris Kerr from Reyactive RoundUp. We'll catch you next time.